quality of healthcare one has access to can mean the difference between life and death. The way one's respective healthcare system operates affects everyone on the planet. I am very interested in the workings of the healthcare system, as it is a fundamental part of everyone's well-being. In Canada, they operate under a universal system which I feel is not in the best interest of those living there. I feel as though more and more countries are switching to this more socialized healthcare, and I wouldn't want America to make the same mistake. Countries with universal healthcare similar to Canada's limit the freedom of their citizens. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the dangers of the universal healthcare system in Canada, how this problem began, and the path I personally believe Canada should take in the future regarding their healthcare system. Universal healthcare, an often highly debated topic, is currently the system operating in Canada, and I believe it is a problem. The issue is significant because almost all people use the healthcare system, so it is important to know how the type of system people have will affect them. Currently, Canada has a single-payer, universal healthcare system. This means that each citizen pays an annual amount for government healthcare in the form of higher taxes. Citizens do not have to pay anything out of pocket at the time of use for services that are deemed necessary by the government. Some things that are not deemed necessary, meaning the government does not pay for them, are prescription drugs, vision care, as well as dental services. To minimize the cost for things that aren't covered, many citizens opt to purchase additional health insurance, usually from their place of employment. The system works based on need rather than the ability to pay. So this means that one can still get government health insurance even if they have no money. This system, however, works in both ways. Everyone gets some sort of health coverage even if they cannot pay, but the money for those patients comes from other Canadians that are forced to chip in to pay for other people's health visits. I, for one, believe this is extremely unethical. Also, it is illegal for Canadians to attempt to receive care that is better than anyone else's. This means that Canadians will have no freedom in choosing how they are cared for or even where they are cared for. This is all controlled by the government. Another reason this system should change is because of the quality of care. In an effort to reduce the cost for healthcare, a lot of resources are rationed, and some may have to wait absurdly long times for certain treatments that are being rationed to cut costs. An additional article titled "The Ugly Truth About Canadian Healthcare" states patients had to wait for practically any diagnostic test or procedure, such as a man with persistent pain from a hernia operation, whom we refer to a pain clinic, with a 3-year wait list, or the woman needing a sleep study to diagnose what seemed like sleep apnea, who faced a 2-year delay, or the woman with breast cancer who needed to wait 4 months for radiation therapy. These wait times for certain procedures due to the rationing of health services can be greatly stressful or even dangerous for Canadians who require care in order to get back to their jobs and their lives. In fact, in an article titled "Canadians Pay a High Price for Free Healthcare," the author states that last year Canadian patients forwent $1.9 billion in wages while waiting for medical treatment. The final problem with the universal healthcare system in Canada is the lack of innovation. Stated in the article, does universal healthcare suppress innovation? In a universal coverage system, the government would seek to limit spending by forcing down payments to doctors and pharmaceutical companies while scrutinizing treatments for cost effectiveness. This, in turn, would lead to both less innovation and less access to the innovation that already exists. This is a problem that will continue to be more and more detrimental to both the economy in Canada and their quality of care, as Canadians will not have access to the most effective treatments. Now, I will talk about the beginning of this system in Canada. The Canadian healthcare problem started in 1962 in Saskatchewan. This would be the first government-run universal healthcare system in North America. The article, "The Birth of Medicare," states, medical care had always been a centerpiece of its welfare state program. By 1959, considerable strides had been made. The initial innovation was universal hospital insurance, which was introduced as early as 1947, and by 1958 had been adopted nationally as a federal-provincial jointly funded program. This is what made it financially possible for Douglas, who was the leader of the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, to announce in 1959 that the province would be launching a universal medical insurance plan. This change was not met with unanimous support, however, and many doctors in the provinces went on strike in response to Douglas' healthcare ideas. As stated in the article, the problem with Canadian healthcare, after Douglas' party won re-election, thousands of doctors went on strike across the province. Business owners, conservative activists, and prominent doctors continued to attack Medicare. Some burn effigies of Douglas in the streets and characterize government leaders as Nazis, but the Saskatchewan government refused to give in, and with the help of British mediator, brought the doctors' strike to an end in 23 days. After the Saskatchewan province adopted this new system, the rest of Canada soon followed. Through the years, there have been slight changes to this original legislation, leading to the system there today, along with its many problems. Although there has been lots of support among Canadians for this system, there are a wealth of people that are gravely unsatisfied with the way that they have received care. The government officials are the ones preventing this problem from being solved, as well as the fact that healthcare is a very sensitive issue that takes a lot of time and effort to fix. As of now, there is nationwide legislation preventing it from changing, which will take lots of time and money to reverse. Next, I will explain my solution to this problem. Making changes to one's healthcare system is a very difficult task. There are pros and cons for all different types of people that must be taken into account before making a decision. With this being said, I believe some options are better than others for the good of the people. I'm a great fan of freedom when it comes to most things. Therefore, I would first propose some changes to try and allow Canadians to have some sort of free will when it comes to the type of care they receive. It would take a long time to fully do away with the universal system, so I would not start with that, but I would instead make an optional program rather than raising taxes as it works now. I would try to begin recreating a market for health services so that the prices of which can regulate themselves rather than being regulated by the government. This would also make the healthcare field much more profitable, thus encouraging more innovations in health services to come from Canada. This change would also decrease wait times for the healthcare services, as healthcare providers would have much more motivation to provide the best care possible for each of their patients. And the amount of healthcare rationing would decrease rapidly. The changes that I would make to this program would decrease everyone's taxes and would make the healthcare industry in Canada boom to new heights. I believe these changes would create a stronger and healthier Canada as a whole. In conclusion, countries with the universal healthcare system similar to Canada's limit the freedom of their citizens. Today, I have told you about the problems with Canada's healthcare system, how it got that way, and how I believe we could fix it. No matter what type of healthcare system you support, a good and working healthcare system is beneficial to our well-being. Thank you.